Hey, everybody. Welcome to Live Fully, Lead Authentically, a Brimstone coaching group podcast. I'm here today with my friend and partner, Kurt Bush. Kurt, what's going on today?
Not a whole lot, Chris. Good to see you. Good to be here.
Yeah, you too. We're not the only ones on the call today.
We're not.
We have an entrepreneur with us, a woman named Shanna De Hoogh, and we are really excited to be able to spend some time with you today, Shanna. Thanks for being here.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for the invitation.
you bet. I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself and about your companies. Not just one, friends, there's multiple.
Well, it's kind of two versions of a similar thing where
Sure.
our first business centers around goat milk soap. We produce and sell and market the soap locally and online. Our business name is Big Red Barn Goat Milk Soap, and yes, we do
Mhm.
have a big red barn that houses the goats, so that's just part of that
Nice.
business. And then what we found pretty early on is that as we were marketing that, we would run into people who said, well, I've always wanted to learn to make soap, but I haven't for whatever reason. And that brought us down the path of teaching soap making. And we
Yeah.
found a lot of people who have been really intrigued by this and sometimes for years, but never dared to step into it because it
Mm.
involves lie. And there's a little bit of if I don't do it right, I'm afraid of what might happen. And sometimes and maybe this is not common knowledge, but they're even afraid that they might explode their kitchen. Like that's not actually possible. That's
I was
not going
gonna
to happen. We're
say,
not
is
dealing with
that
Wow.
is that a
explosives. Yeah.
thing?
Wow.
But it is a chemical that they don't know how to handle, and it just creates
Mm.
this barrier. So our second venture then is teaching the soap making. I've done it in person, but by far the biggest audience is online.
Mm.
And it's just helping them get over that that first hurdle of I can't, I'm scared. I can't. I
Mm.
don't I can't do this without somebody walking this path with me. And that's kind of the focus is just helping beginners get that confidence and be able to do it for themselves.
Wow, that's pretty fascinating. So
Mhm.
I think that most entrepreneurs and people who start or launch into things, like getting over the fear. See, I mean, when
Mhm.
you say that, I'm like, oh, that really resonates. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
is it that they see you do it, or are there other components to that where
Hmm.
you help them uh, get over that hurdle?
So the first thing we do is we call it soap making week, where we spend a week and it's all on Zoom or it's all Zoom calls, it's all
Yeah.
online. And they are watching me do it, but they are also participating as they can. So they're encouraged to have the stuff, do the projects, not like with me because that gets complicated, but after the fact, and they're encouraged to make that first batch of soap during that week. And
Mm.
then the teaching part is actually a monthly membership where
Okay.
they're with us every month. I'm demonstrating a new project at there's various levels of people in the membership. So I'm doing one for every level. And then they just are encouraged to at least do that one project in the month. And some of them do way more than that. And some of
Mm.
them just keep pace with me, but just helping them continue to grow. And to your thought of entrepreneurs really resonating with that fear of getting started. One of the things we kind of got pulled into, not really against our wishes, but just I didn't see it coming, was
Hmm.
as people are learning to make soap, even if they just make one batch of soap, which is 10 bars a month. Think about like how many bars of soap would you use in a month? One, maybe, right? And if they're
Right.
making 10, all of a sudden it starts to stack up. And the next need they need is for an outlet. So
Mm.
now they either need to like give it away like crazy or they need
Hmm.
to start selling. And so then they, not even realizing it at the beginning, kind of get sucked into marketing their stuff. Well,
Yeah.
now there's a whole new realm of fears. And that's
Right.
where we've engaged with you a bit in we have a specific class for the soap makers who are going to want to build a business and just helping them get started, like just the physical part of how do you get started with that. But we've also added in the emotional piece because we found
Mm.
that they start to get a little wonky when they start to put together business stuff. Like there's stuff that
Yeah.
just comes out weird,
Yeah.
and we needed
Yeah.
to address that piece as well.
Hmm. Did your stuff ever come out weird as you were getting going?
Never, absolutely not.
That's
No,
the
Really?
right answer. Yeah.
no
That is
experience with that. Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I, can I ask a question about that, Shanna?
sure, sure.
So, you talk about the fear that comes with being an entrepreneur and kind of starting these other things. I wonder, like, do you have a sense how much of how much of your success in this area is related to people see you and know, like, oh, this woman has done all the things that I'm nervous to do, or this woman has done all the things that I don't know how to do. Like, this is a direct, like you're showing the thing you've already been successful in doing versus like we see so many people trying to sell stuff of like do these things and you'll be successful, but you're like doing, you're giving
Hmm.
the formula. Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah, and that's the soap making side of our business. This teaching portion is by far the largest portion.
Mm.
The actual production of soap and lotion and the selling of that is almost just like the hobby I won't let go of because I enjoy doing it.
Mhm.
I like the people, I like the marketing and stuff. So we talk every once in a while about, this is the arm of our business that is not, it's not bringing in this near the same money as the other. So it's really kind of a unnecessary piece at this
Yeah.
point. But I like doing it. And also I feel like it keeps me current and kind of
Mhm.
validates me in front of the students where they can see that not only has she done it, but she is doing it
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah.
And I have others in the business who say that's not necessary. But for the moment, I'm still enjoying that piece, and I feel like it's fun to be able to talk to them about, well, my show last week, I saw this in the crowd, or the economy seems to be doing this, or I heard these comments. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is helpful.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah, that's really good. I appreciate you saying that.
Hmm.
So, like, I am imagining that you had to learn a lot of things
Hmm.
as you were getting going in this. So, I'm curious about that. Like, what kinds of things did you actually have to learn yourself? Or like, were you a marketing major in college, or how did this happen? And then, like after that, then I'm curious if you would say, what things did you need to unlearn
Mm.
as you're growing this empire, let's call it for fun.
It's a very small empire, but that's okay. I'll take the word.
Okay, yeah.
Um, so we was starting with the soaps. We always thought that that would be the primary business.
Mm.
So we spent a lot of time learning how to market and stuff with that being the focus. And my sister and I are kind of like business education junkies. We would go to
Mm,
different conferences and different things and take different courses and stuff. So I feel like as I'm now teaching that, I'm taking like the culminations of so
Mhm.
many different things that I attended or that I did or I learned, and then providing it to them. But
yeah.
yeah, it was all after the fact. I was a music education major, so that
Mm,
didn't none of that really transferred
sure.
into
Yeah.
into this
Yeah.
world. So this was all learning after the fact.
Mm,
Um, Also, you just in my history, we have a lot of kids. I homeschooled, so I was a homeschooling mom for a long time. And as that season for me waned, because if you do that job really well, you lose your kids one by one, and at the end, you lose your job.
yeah.
Like, and that's as good as it gets.
That is a good thing.
That's success. Yeah. So so in that season, the business was just picking up. So it's kind of like that was just a really good pairing that I had one
Yeah.
thing replacing the other.
Yeah.
So so things I had to learn. The whole marketing and stuff, that was all a piece that I was like, that learning came after the fact. I do have my sister in business with me as well, so she handles a good chunk of like Facebook advertising and other things like that, so I don't carry all of that load myself.
Yeah.
um Things maybe that caught me, or you said things I had to unlearn, that was the question.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I am pretty good at doing everything by myself. And and that's historically, like, I hated
Mm.
group projects in school. What a profound waste of time. Now I have to do all of this and three people get the credit. What a waste.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Because
So
people
that,
like me were in your group.
yes, I would not have liked to have been with you.
Probably not. Yeah.
No. So I'm pretty good just, okay, something needs to be done,
Mhm.
I will do it, and I'll just do it all myself and not have to worry about other people getting it done. Well,
Yeah.
as the business grows, that's not possible.
Sure. Yeah.
And to learn to not only relinquish a piece of this business that's my baby, that
Mm.
that was
Yeah.
that was difficult. But then now to get to the point where I'm not only having relinquished pieces of it, and multiples of them, but looking for ways to do even more.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I think
Good.
what that has moved me into is, just being really aware of what's my lane. What is that thing
Mm.
that only I can do? Or it's a collection of things, but where do I need to really spend my time, because this is where the value is, and how can I get rid of everything else? And
Yeah.
that's, I can't say that I'm super good at that, and there's still that collection of business things. Well, somebody needs to do it, so I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
Looking to be more and more in that kind of a position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
Can I
pretty
follow
powerful
up on that?
phrase. Yeah.
Sure.
Do it.
So Shanna, I imagine Chris and I both, when you talked about like relinquishing things that are parts of your baby, like
Hmm. Hmm.
I know like that hits pretty hard. I mean that feeling resonates quite a
Hmm.
bit. I imagine it does for Chris too. What was that like? Maybe even just emotionally or internally. Like, what was it like to get to the point where now you can say, like, I am relinquishing this and I do see
Hmm.
the value in this? Like, how did you get there? What was that process like?
It's just really an exercise in letting that fist go. And the
Yeah.
first, and this will seem silly maybe to everybody, but I, for the longest time, I packed all my own orders. So somebody orders two soaps and a lotion online, and I am packing that box, and I'm wrapping it, and I'm doing it just the way I want it to be done, and taping the box and putting the
Yeah.
postage on and getting it in the mail.
Yeah.
And as things started to grow, my husband said, I want to pack the orders. And I went, no, because
No.
Yeah.
I have always done this. And this is
Yeah.
like the little physical, this is the connection between me and the customer. They've ordered something, and I'm going to make sure
Yeah.
it's
Mm.
perfect. Well, it turns out he's even more particular about all of this than I am. So he was a great person to hand it off to. So, but it took me a little bit to, okay, I'm okay, and I'm even going to trust that all the orders are being fulfilled. I'm not watching over his shoulder. So that took me a while to, like, actually, I can physically release it, but to emotionally release it, that that
Yeah.
took longer. Well,
Yeah.
then as the business has grown even more, he is needed other places. So he had to relinquish it to someone else.
Mm.
And to watch him go, I can't, this is my thing. I'm like, no, 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 no. I
Mm.
had
Yeah.
to do this for you. Now you have to do this for other
Yeah.
people. So for
Yeah.
me, even the process of learning that helps me now, I don't know, coach the other people in the business for, okay, you need to let it go.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
someone else jump in and do that.
Yeah. It's good.
I heard someone else say, like, in a business, what are the $10 jobs? Like $10 an hour. Like, this is even, I
Yeah.
don't even know what minimum wage is right now, but it's like, the baseline.
Yeah.
What are the jobs you can pay someone else $10 an hour to do? So then how do you find that person, and how do you stop
Yeah.
doing the $10 an hour jobs? Packing orders,
Yeah.
that's one of my $10 an hour jobs. I need to not be there.
Yeah, but there's something significant for me, at least in what you said, in the realization that, like, physically I can let go of this, but you're in our
Yeah.
lane now, where you say emotionally I
Hmm.
had to learn how to let go. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
when you think about that, how do you help people who,
Mm.
franchisees or whatever your description is of them, however you define that, how do you help them understand that? What are ways that maybe you've gotten to clarity about why I'm
Mm.
so emotionally attached to packing orders?
Hmm.
Mm,
Well, I think just being really, I mean, any entrepreneur is going to be hyper aware of the fact that you built this from nothing. This is not,
Mhm.
well, maybe a franchise would be a bit different, but for someone who started a business and they have grown it from zero,
Zero.
you
Yeah.
yeah.
have
Yeah.
created every piece of this. So in that way, it kind of feels like a child. Or
Yeah.
maybe
Mm,
like you need to be able to split it up. So maybe it's a couple of kids,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
just the like this is your thing and to hand it off to someone else, I think for me there's an like this is maybe not giving enough credit where it should be, but I feel like nobody else can do it as good as I do. And if it doesn't get done as well as I want it done, the stability of my business is at risk. And is this whole
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing gonna buckle because somebody used pink tissue paper instead of green? Yeah, I mean that's in my world, is but
Yeah.
that's the underlying fear is it going to collapse because
Mhm.
I'm not physically touching
Yeah.
every piece of my business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can hear the next question already, but what I've discovered for myself is I need to look at the places in my business that are causing me stress and the ones where I am my own bottleneck. Like, where is
Mm,
either that thing
mm,
that I cannot get done or that thing that I keep deprioritizing because I don't want to do it. Those are the
Mm.
places to look first. Like, how can I find that? And I was preparing for this morning, I was thinking there is a little tiny piece of graphic design that one of an employee of mine who's close to one of you has been on me for a while to get done, and it's holding back a major project. It's a tiny piece of graphic design, and I still don't have it done because I
mm,
despise graphic design. I don't want to
mm.
do it. And it's this tiny little thing. But it
Yeah.
just it just as I was thinking about it this morning, I'm like, I need to hand that off. Why is that still sitting on my desk? It's been here for two
Mm.
weeks. That needs
Yeah.
to go. And just being aware of that earlier and earlier so you can stop being the bottleneck.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you clear on what that is?
The piece I need to have done, or
Yeah. Are you clear why you're holding on to it? You don't have to give me the reason, but have you gotten to a point of clarity about that where you can
this.
pass it on
Yeah,
to get the
yeah, I
thing
absolutely
designed?
can. Yeah.
Yeah.
The holdup for me is the person I have to hand it on to is super busy too. So I
Mm.
hate asking that. But I also know that anything I physically design that's going to be like a postcard or something else, I will immediately think it looks dumb. So I need
Mm.
someone else to do it because then I will think it looks wonderful. And it could be the same. But that's just
So
it's just
Kurt,
it's just not my gift,
this
not my
feels like
lane.
a coaching conversation right now. And maybe, just maybe I shouldn't do that. But here's what I would say, Shanna. Think about saying that differently.
Okay.
It probably wouldn't look dumb.
Probably
But
not, but it's just because I did it that I will think it
I
looks dumb,
know.
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't feel
Yeah.
like this is a you're
It's not.
like a learning point for me. It's just learning that this is not my lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's pretty
I
good.
think what feels so valuable in what you just said, Shannon, to hold up is that you are aware that there is something keeping you from doing the
Mhm,
thing that needs to be done. And what you didn't say is like, I don't get this done because of this person is holding me up, or I don't get this done because my circumstances are
mhm,
busy. You said, I don't get this thing done because I'm avoiding it. And I think what is worth holding up there is you named
Yeah.
that you have a part, we all have a part. And if we can look at our parts, then we can find traction and get something accomplished or
mhm,
do something differently. I think that's just worth highlighting again the way you said it. It's really good.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks for uh,
mhm.
bringing that kind of clarity, Kurt. It's, I think, a useful part of that
Yeah.
conversation for sure. For sure. Yeah. Uh,
I have one more piece
yeah.
where we've actually engaged Brimstone Coaching Group in our business course.
Hmm.
And there's a piece there that I guess again I'm feeding I'm hearing the question before you ask, but
What's that
but
about, Shannon?
yeah, I don't know.
She's leading the questioner,
Yeah.
Your Honor.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
Go
that's
ahead. Go
great.
ahead.
Go. Yeah.
So as like I said, as we're teaching people to make soap, and they are, if they're being good about that, they have soap stacking up all over their house, and maybe they have other people in their home saying, what's the plan here? What are we going to
Yeah.
do with all
Yeah.
this? And they kind of get pushed down the path of, I need an outlet, I need to, maybe that's a business, maybe they've even had that in the back of their mind from the beginning, I would love to have a soap business. So we offer them this course where we're going to help you do all the pieces. And what we initially had intended was, we're going to help you find your customer, we're going to help you
Mm,
get your social media, your marketing up and running. There's a piece you can add on to build your website. We're going to talk about, could you do wholesale? Could you do subscription boxes? Could you, like, all in-person sales? What do you want to do? And just help them get all those pieces together, so then by the end of the course, their business framework is there. Now they just need to do the work
yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
what we found along the way is they started to get a little crabby and stressed out,
Mm,
after we were in it for about 3 weeks. And in one cycle of that, by the time we got to the end, there were some rough emotions in that
mm,
class. And what we realized was, all of a sudden they are coming face to face with something I've heard referred to as imposter syndrome,
mm.
where they are now
Yeah.
in front of other people, and that's not what they signed up for way back when they started taking soap making classes from me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I'm aware of this as well, because as we started to create product, I have the goats, I do the chores, I make the soap, I sell the soap. And all of a sudden I have people coming to me at my craft show table saying, "Will this be excuse me. Will this be okay for my kids' eczema?" I assume so. I mean, this is a great product. I've heard that it is, so give it a try. Oh, okay. Would this help this rash I have on my arm?
Mm.
I don't
Yeah.
want to see your rash, really. And and
Yeah.
and the one that just stands out in my mind was, this guy came up to my table, and I have a sample of lotion there, and he goes, "Can I take a bit of this?" I'm like, "Sure." And he pumps it a few times, whips up his shirt, and smears it all over this massive new tattoo he has all over his stomach. And he goes, "I bet this will take the sting right out of this new tattoo." I'm like, and I didn't need to see any of that, really, like none of it. And and it was just the, like, all of a sudden I've been shoved into the world of dermatological issues, and I have
Yeah.
no experience. Well, I mean, more now just because of talking with
Yeah.
people. But that was a huge piece of imposter syndrome, where I'm like, who am I to
Yeah.
speak to your kids' eczema or tattoos or anything else? Well,
Yeah.
so then now, turning that now to these students and realizing that no matter what avenue they choose for marketing their soaps, they're putting at the very minimum their product, which is now their babies, in front of
Hmm.
other people, and they're going to get rave reviews and they're going to get not so great reviews, and they need to be
Yeah.
ready to handle that. And even just the emotions of, all of a sudden I realize, I have to put this in front of people, I have to be okay with this is part of this thing.
Yeah.
And now that brings up stuff in me. And we found that, well, we had Kurt come and do a presentation to the class.
Hmm. Yeah.
And the first time that happened, I was unsure how it would be received. I knew it was needed, but I wasn't sure, like, what level they would engage at. And we
Yeah.
had tears on that first call.
Mm.
And it
Yeah.
just occurred to me that this is absolutely needed. This is hitting them exactly where they are. They're just in the beginning steps of, this is a path I did not necessarily know I would be walking. And now, even the, what's my sister-in-law going to say? What's my,
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
people in
Yeah.
my family who are going to see me
Yeah.
doing this thing, even them, the people who are closest to me, what are they going to say? What are they going to think?
Yeah. Thanks for,
So yeah, anyway, so we just continued down that. They met with Kurt 3 different times during the class, and by the end, that was one of the pieces that they appreciated most out of that experience, was just helping to recognize what's going on, hearing that that's normal, and
Yeah.
yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're not alone in that.
Yeah. That's been really good. I mean, what's interesting, Shanna, is we talk to a lot of like groups of corporate business leaders who think about like, oh, I read this book about John Maxwell's 7 Irrefutable Habits. I'm probably getting that wrong, but the framework that we say is always, those are great, but there's always going to be this thing keeping you from doing it well, unless you
Mm-hmm.
address the sort of internal curt
Mm-hmm.
things, right? I
Yeah.
think it was really, really, I want to say good, but that feels like the wrong word to use here. It was really good to see that used in this sort of like entrepreneurial, even even a little more like ag centered when you start talking about goat
Mm-hmm.
milk. I mean, it really does apply in all of these different kind of entrepreneurial settings to say you can, Shanna can give you all the best social media things,
Yeah.
all the best formula, and boy, there's just going to be this thing
Yep.
that limits how well you can use even these things that Shanna has used that are proven to build a business. There's
Mm-hmm.
still this internal piece that needs addressed. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
So
Shanna is Shanna, right?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And you are you, and you take you with you wherever you go.
yeah,
And the
Mm-hmm.
so that reality is, yeah, it really is significant. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. I'm writing and posting there, and I'm reading stuff, and I think the thing that I would say is about this is that um, we 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 think that there's a ready, like I'm ready to do this, and
yeah,
that isn't necessarily true. I think taking steps actually makes us ready, right? So the
Mm-hmm.
the thing that we talk about, the way we would say it is like information alone does not
yeah.
transform or become productivity. Action does. And so actually doing the thing is really important. And then understanding, well, what are all the things that get stirred up in me while I'm doing this? There's nothing worse than a bad review. If
Right.
if you've had one, Shanna, I'm sure that that is not awesome. And if you have enough of them, you get to the place where you understand, well, okay, there's a little bit of truth in everything, but that might be a them issue more than me
Mm-hmm.
if I'm in my healthy place, right? How do you handle things like that? I'm just curious since we're talking about
Well,
that.
I wonder, can we take a quick break?
Oh yeah.
sure.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back and Shanna is going to answer that question.
Have you ever walked out of a meeting or left a conversation thinking, why did I just show up like that? Why did I shrink back or explode or stay silent when it mattered? You're not alone and you're not broken. You're likely reacting from a pattern that started long before that meeting ever happened. In their new book, Live Fully, Lead Authentically, Kurt Busch and Chris Godfreyson unpack the hidden second job so many of us carry, spending our days managing the anxiety, fear, and old stories that shape how we lead. Through honest stories and practical tools, they invite leaders to pause, reflect, and lead in a new way. Get your copy today at brimstonecoachinggroup.com/new book. Order now. This is your invitation to lead differently.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Live Fully, Lead Authentically. Chris and I are here with Shanna De Hoogh, founder of Big Red Barn, Goat Milk Soap and Lotion. Shanna, I interrupted Chris when he was asking you a question, so I'm gonna ask the question again and let you answer it. So Chris was talking about the impact of a bad review and how even something that seems as small as a bad review can knock us off of our trajectory, knock us off the rails, if you will. How
Mm-hmm.
do you handle things like negative criticism or those things that have a tendency to just knock you off your rails and lead you in a place you don't want to go?
I think in my business, I had the chance to practice with this on a little bit smaller of a scale because our first interactions with people were in person at a craft show,
Mm,
actually
Mhm.
selling our product. And people will come through the line and they'll say, "Oh, this smells great," and "Oh, I don't like that one at all."
yeah,
And
yeah,
that first like evaluation of the scents we had chosen and stuff, that could really sting a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you handle enough people, and even in the one show, we saw the same soap be picked up by people, and some people would be ew, and some people are like, oh, this is my favorite.
Mm.
And that's when I realized that the evaluation based on scent didn't matter, because everybody's sense of smell is different and everybody's preferences are different. So that kind of started building a callus to the negative criticism, I guess.
Yeah.
So I would say that online, for our product, we don't see a lot of negative stuff. We do every once in a while get somebody saying, how could you possibly use lye on your skin? Well, they don't understand the chemistry of the soap. You're not putting lye on your skin, you're just using it to make it. And I could dive into that, but that's not the point here. But there's also people who are like, how could you use animal products? Well, that's your thing. How could you use palm oil, the environment? And like, you know what? Everybody
Yeah.
makes their own decisions. So we get some criticism that way just for the choices we've made about our product. But I also tend to every once in a while drag up an animal rights person who can't believe that we would be so heartless to take the milk away from the baby goats, and they pound their little thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I chuckle at that, because that's actually not at all what we do. The baby goats stay with their moms for 2 months, and then we wean them. But the goats are designed to make way more milk than that. And these people just don't realize that. They've never actually shepherded a herd of anything. But then taking all of that, and now there are even people in our membership who will be crabby for some reason. And we
Yeah.
just try to take those pretty head on and just say, you know what, they're also coming maybe from a place of non-information, maybe from a place of, they've just had a bad experience with something, or they're crabby that their box they ordered didn't get to them on time. And we try to be very in that, just we're going to handle that as quickly as we can. But I also have realized that the bigger things get, the more behind I can get in that customer service. So I have my husband helping me with that as well, and
Yeah.
others as well. So
Yeah.
you kind of learn to just not let it fluster you, but also realize that it's just the symbol of something that needs to be handled, and you just dive in and handle it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we would say that these are people do what they do when they're anxious, and anxiety can make us stupid. It's not that we are stupid. It's that in our stress and anxiety, it just comes out sideways, right?
Right.
And so
Right.
people do this when you don't know something and you think there's injustice in the world. Now we name it. Well, this actually isn't it. Oh, well, now I'm confronted with the truth of that, and I don't know what to do. So now I go radio silent, or right. Yeah. Yeah.
Just this past week, we do our teaching calls on Mondays. So I had one teaching call that was what was very hard. And I felt like my students were ganging up on me and kind of airing their grievances about something that wasn't something I was teaching about, but problems they were having in their soap making that were ongoing. And this group of them have been with me for several months. And in my estimation, they should be getting over this should not be hanging on. But there's just a small group of people with this problem and a small group with this problem. And one person brought it up, and then everybody else in the chat on my Zoom call is going, yeah, me too. I've had this, da, da, da. And I felt really ganged up on. So that night I just kind of had to step away from it, and okay, I need to calm myself a little bit and just think a bit and refocus. But one problem I took to the other group of leaders I have in the group and just said, how do I handle this? What do I do? And they gave me a bunch of ideas, and I turned that into a post. And the piece that, and this is something that I need to work on in myself too, just kind of ongoingly. But they have problems, and I feel like it is my responsibility to solve them, even if they are not actually in my ability to solve over Zoom.
Yeah.
So like this issue was their colorants weren't holding like they wanted. Well, the colorants will hold fine, but you're doing something that's causing it to be a problem. So we gave them this whole list, and these other leaders, moderators, we call them, just kind of came around me and said, they need to, like, you're giving the teaching, it's their job to do the troubleshooting. Like, they need to they have to be responsible for fixing their own problem. They're not here so you can solve all their problems. they're here so you can teach, and they need to meet you halfway. And I just went, oh, that
Mm.
felt so much better. And I need to remember
Yeah.
not to let that get twisted up in my mind that I have to solve all the problems. Well, then this
Mm.
other issue is the soap batter can overheat. And I had half a dozen people saying, it's still overheating, it's still overheating. And I didn't know what to do with that really. So I thought, okay, we're just gonna like I said, dive into the middle of it and see what happens. And I offered them all a private Zoom call. There's three of them. I'm going to be one-on-one. I'm going to watch you make soap. You need to be
Mm.
ready. You need to have a camera
Mm.
person. You need to be ready for me to ask questions. But I had all three of them have asked for a call. And yesterday I got to be on that call and watching and seeing where the mistakes were being made and how to help them through this. And that's me maybe being a little bit more active to here, let me help fix this. But it's also, that's my lane. My
Mhm.
lane in this job is to keep, like, I am the face, and I also need to be the buck stopper kind of in this group, but also the one who's willing to dive in and take a look and see if there's
Mhm.
anything else we can solve for them.
Yeah, to enable them to be
Yeah.
successful. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think that's,
Hmm.
yeah, it's admirable. Yeah. So, Shannon, you've given us a ton to think about today, and I'm really grateful for the way in which you've highlighted several things. And so I think the last question that I would like to ask is, like, is there one thing in your own leadership right now, an area that you could say, boy, if I grew in this, it would have a
Mm.
significant impact on what it is that we do day in and day out.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have like since starting the business, starting to look at and the advent of the book and reading that and just doing just starting to look at what internal work would be helpful here. And also in our situation, my husband and I are in the business together, and we
Mhm.
just need to make sure, like I knew going into it that could be a source of friction just because this is a very new situation that we're putting ourselves in together.
Yeah.
How do we keep that good and just be
Mhm.
very proactive at handling any of that? And one of the things that I'm continuing to work on is feeling like it's my job to keep people happy, like, and that
Mm.
that serves me very well in a customer service model. It doesn't serve me well in other employees, and for me needing to feeling like it's my job to keep everyone happy.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's one person in our world who is kind of unhappy right now, but I do know that it's not actually because of the business, it's because of other external things. And I need to
Yeah.
be able to set that aside and say, I'm not trying to solve her personal thing with my business. I just need to give her space, to
Yeah.
let both exist in her life. So that's
Yeah.
my own work. And as far as like what could I do that would that's like to help, that would impact the business
Yeah.
best, I think leaning back toward where's my lane, and not only to focus on what's just for me to do and how do I serve my business best, and where are those things where only I can do that. I also need to be aware of my limits, and I hate that word.
Mm.
I hate that word. I
Yeah.
like being limitless.
Most people
So
do.
Yeah.
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 right, right. But even just the limit of time, that there's only so much time. And if I'm
Yeah.
spending my time doing the things that are most important, then the things I didn't get done really are not that big of a deal. And just to be actively looking for ways to continue to release, to continue to hand things off, and to be okay
Yeah.
with that. Invite people in to do other stuff that will
Yeah.
lift load. And I feel like not only is that good for me, because as I am in a good place inside me, that radiates out to the business, but it also sets a model. I have people looking at me, and I feel like I have felt that mantle from the beginning, that
Mhm.
as I am, that sets the tone for the business, but it also sets an example, and I want to make sure that I'm setting a good example, and that
Yeah.
keeps our business in a good place.
Yeah. That's well said.
Yeah, that's really good, Shanna. I think two things are true from Brimstone Coaching Group. Number one, it's been a tremendous gift and privilege to partner with you,
Hmm.
whether it's to think about your business or your folks that you serve. I mean, yeah, it's just been a joy. Here's the other thing that's true. I think your soap empire, as you said, as we referred to it earlier, is much, much larger than you give it credit for. Um, which I know you're going to do that coming into this call. So I'm going to just
Yeah.
call that out and say you have a tremendous business. How do people find out more about not Big Bread Barn? That's a different business. How do
It
they
is.
find out more about Big
Probably.
Red Barn and Sassy Soapers?
Sure. So we are BRB goat milk soap. Big Red Barn was taken, so we had to go with BRB
Mm.
goat milk soap on both Facebook and Instagram. And then our website is brbgoatmilksoap.com as well.
Hmm.
That's kind of the product side. If you want to find the soap making side, it's sassysoapers.com.
Yeah. 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 We just want to say thanks. I mean, thanks for giving your time.
Yeah.
We just know a little more of the background that you're so humble not to say of how you got here. And we're just, yeah, it's great to sit down with you and hear a little bit about that. Chris, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I echo that, and I think that for me, uh, every entrepreneur would benefit from engaging in some of the things that you've become aware of in your own self, and to take to heart some of the things that you've said. To be able to know, oh, like I don't want to give that up or whatever. Like understanding why those things exist enable us to actually give them up. So is I appreciate the conversation today and your ongoing success is one of my great desires. So I hope that you continue to thrive as you grow the business.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I also feel like it's just been a very interesting pairing that as I discovered in my own business, gosh, my people really need to do some internal work, or even in myself, like I need to be aware
Hmm.
of this. Brimstone Coaching Group just kind of came into being right at that moment.
Hmm.
So thank you
Yeah.
guys for all you're doing as well.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good talking to you, Shanna. Yeah. Best of luck. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
So this was I think an insightful episode, and I'm grateful for it. And so Shanna and Big Red Barn Goat Milk Soap Company has engaged with Brimstone Coaching Group along the way. And if somebody listening today would like to have conversations about understanding the things in them that are keeping them from being able to hand things off, or some of the other things that Shanna discussed, how do they go about doing that, Kurt?
Yeah, there's a few ways. I think the easiest way is to go to brimstonecoachinggroup.com. There are buttons on that page that say schedule a call.
Hmm.
If somebody's curious about this work, they can schedule a free 30-minute call with either of us to explore what that could look like. I think maybe a more passive way is both of us write on LinkedIn every single
Mm.
day. People can find us on LinkedIn. There are links below for that to get a glimpse of how we think and how we as a coaching practice approach some of these conversations,
Yeah,
the same conversations Shannon just mentioned. So I think those are
exactly.
the two easiest and best ways.
Yep. Well, thanks for again the conversation today, Kurt, and for like all that you've done and are doing for Shanna and that organization. It's great, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.